fucking first cut. Golly.
Hello, YouTube. We are at the halfway point here in Detroit and a couple of big bombers at the top of the leaderboard. We'll break all that down and more. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. We'll get started right now. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gaiman. That right there, it's Mark Immelman. Mark, it's good to have you. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you here in Detroit. It's good to be back, man. It's a great city, and it's an awesome event. And got in this morning, checked out the golf course. Playing a whole lot different to last year when it was soft and long and thick rough and mushy around the place. It's firm. I wouldn't say it's fast. The greens are running at about 12. The fairways are certainly running out, and there's not much rough, and so it's kind of a bit defenseless now if the wind doesn't blow.
Yeah, we've got a couple of guys deep under par at the top of the leaderboard. Tony Finau is done. He's in the clubhouse. He backed up his Thursday 64 with a Friday 66. Mark, he did not make a bogey on Friday, but tisk, he did miss 2 greens. So now he's missed 2 total greens for the week.
Well, I guess we have to credit Coach for this because he called this many months ago. And if you ask him, he'll remind you. No, this is, again, we talked about this after the win last week. He just seems super comfortable and he's allowing the rounds of golf to come to him. It never looks like he's trying to force the issue at all. You know, he's playing aggressive off tees when he needs to, and he's hitting aggressive shots into greens when he has to. But otherwise, it's just all very calculated. And I don't want to say Tiger-esque because it's hard to compare someone to Tiger. But the one thing Woods always did was he never forced the issue unless he had to, because he knew he was long enough and to say, well, on a course like this, I'm getting to 4 par 5s in 2. That's me playing par 5s in 3 under, maybe 4, at least 2. So that's already 69 or so if I don't make dumb errors. And then there's a few short par 4s like we have here. Yeah, those up. And then, okay, well, now it's all of a sudden at 67. You do that a few times, it's 20 for a week. And so Tony's like, I'll just let this sort of play as it plays. And so as a result, he's hitting so many greens because I watched him play a little this afternoon. I didn't think he was trying to force the issue at all. It was all very smart and just kind of doing a whole lot of what he did last week.
Well, I'm glad you kind of brought up the patience factor, because I think that's what I saw as well. He went out in 35, Mark. That's only 1 under, and you could see there were other big rounds brewing. Guys were going deep under par, and you could have gotten a little impatient in that moment. He just kind of picked his spots, and he came in 31. So there really was kind of the tale of 2 nines out there for him.
It certainly was, but I have not looked at the numbers yet. I just got back to the hotel, but I would figure as the 2 9s shape out, that the field would average a little higher on the front side than they would on the back 9. On the front side, 1's a doddle of a par 4, 2 is also shortish, 3 is an iron and a flip for these guys, and then 4, the first par 5, is long and is playing back into a westerly breeze. Then you have a par 3, and then 6 is a good par 4, difficult par 4, 7's a tight par 5, and so you're sort of weaving between these hardwoods on some demanding holes in the front. But then the backside opens up for you. For these guys, some of them drive it. It's a drive and a wedge, easy hole location today. Then there's a medium iron par 3. And then 12, which is ordinarily difficult for this crowd today. They're driving it so far down there. They've got 9 irons and wedges in there. And then you can almost drive it close to 13. Then there's a reachable 5. Then there's a short 3. So even 16, which I said was difficult, at least in my memory it was. 16 today, I sat there with Stephen Cox, the rules official, for a little while, about 30 minutes right of the fairway. And guys were driving it past the bunkers there, which are like 310 over the top of them. So the course is playing so fast, I certainly think that the only real challenge on the back 9 is the 18th hole. The rest of them are right in front of you. And if you're playing well, you can get after it.
Speaking of driving it over those bunkers on 16, that's exactly what Taylor Pendrith just did. Now, I will note, as we speak, he is still out on the golf course. He needs to play 17. He needs to play 18. Marquis was 100 yards in on 16, left it short of the green and ended up making bogey. That's the only bogey on his scorecard. He's still currently 6 under for the round. He's playing the par 5 right now, so there's a decent chance that Pendrith could be our second round leader. He is shaping up to really put some pressure on the rest of this leaderboard this weekend.
First off, kudos to you, because if my 51-year-old memory serves, you picked him as a best bet or something this week, didn't you?
Yeah, I think he was my long shot. That's right.
Good call.
Thank you.
Well, look, the one thing about Taylor is I watch him play, and as I'd said to you guys when Derek Ingram said to me to watch out for him, I was like, cool, if Derek says so, it's legit. And Pendrith, the way he swings at big wide arc, lots of down cock and stuff, big leg drive, it's great for hitting the ball a long way and power off an ascending angle of attack. I'm going to go golf geek on you for just a minute here, right? But then on wedges off bent grass fairways, you got to isolate those movements and catch the ball more ball and then ground and not dig too much, right? So it needs a little bit more stable in action. And he had some good wedges today, but every single one of them looked like, to me, his legs were out in front of the arm swing a little bit too much. And he almost saved contacts. I mean, it worked out, but then sort of caught up with him after just a perfect drive down there. You're thinking, let's try and sting one in there and make another 3. He kind of got a little late with the delivery, caught the ball slightly heavy. And then from there was such a difficult up and in over that slope. It was always going to be 50-50. So, look, hitting the thing, he's got no problem. I'm keen to see how those sort of, not the full wedges, the touchy sort of stuff from like the 60-yard where it's not completely a full swing, but it's that 60 to about 110, 15-yard range for him, where he's not just going with a flat-out lob wedge or something like that. That stuff where he's long and soft, and then he's got to match the stuff up. That is, that's going to be a challenge, and I'm keen to see how that works under pressure on the weekend.
He is currently sitting in the middle of the fairway on the par 5 17th, so we'll see how he wraps up this round. Another big hitter, Mark, went out and shot the round of the day this morning. That was Cameron Young, one of the pre-tournament favorites, blasted through Detroit Golf Club in a 9 under 63, highlighted by the eagle hole out on number 13 from 135 yards. This is what everyone was expecting, as he was one of the, favorites and most popular options coming into the week.
Okay. Mea culpa. Guy played beautifully at the Open Championship. I rate Cameron Young highly. Now I'm doing a coach. I was the guy I told you to look out for him after San Diego this year, right? Mm-hmm. And I just didn't see him playing that well here after a few weeks off, coming out, trying to find his game a little bit. And in the first round, he wasn't 100%. You could see him sort of figuring his way around. But today it was just like he went bananas and he was right back in the saddle. But that just speaks to a guy, when someone does that, it's a player that's operating on high confidence, because, when you have that sort of iffy round in a place that people are shooting low, if you're playing well, then you can not be too concerned after you're done with the round, because you're like, I'll get this place. I've got lots of time. No need to get silly. And he came out and he hit a wedge close, I think it was, made a birdie, then made the eagle or whatever. And next thing I turn around, because I was flying in this morning, and I switch on my phone after we land, and he's like 9 under through 15 or something silly. And I was like, well, look, now we know for sure that this guy's for real. And we know for sure that he is super confident right now, because a round like that, after a round that wasn't his sharp stuff, after a few weeks off, that speaks to confidence that's just off the charts. And I don't know if I have a sneaking suspicion, but I think this kind of thing is just going to just light his fire, and he's going to get busy on the weekend.
Yeah, only took him 18 holes to knock that rust off before going low on Friday. So as we stand right now, Tony Finau is in at 14 under par. Taylor Pendrith, a hole and a half to play, also 14 under par. Lee Hodges, 3 shots back. He's playing with Taylor Pendrith, so he's at 11 under. And then Cam Young already in the clubhouse, along with Russell Henley and Stuart Sink at 10 under par. Mark, I want to look at the live odds with you here for a second and see if there is anything noteworthy. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. Our friends over at Caesars Sportsbook, no surprise, have Tony Finau as the favorite. And if he does indeed win at plus 135, it'll be back-to-back wins for Tony Finau. Taylor Pendrith plus 225, and everybody else in double digits. That Cam Young, who you have a sneaking suspicion about, Mark, 11-1. Patrick Cantlay at 14, and your neighbor down there, Russell Henley, 16-1.
Well, you smart guys would have gotten Cameron Young for a lot better number before the event began.
Yeah.
and Cantlay as well, who incidentally looked very, very sharp this afternoon again, coming out after round one not being that good. But I just think Finau is the form right now. And you listen to his comments afterwards. Remember I said to you on the wrap-up pod after 3M, it's like, I can't tell you what it is, but it looks to me like Tony Finau has found his special sauce. Mm-hmm. He's found that something, and it was the family's with him, and he looks like he's just comfortable with who he is. And he's like, I've got game enough. I don't need to prove myself. I'm just going to let it happen. Well, he's in that peaceful place right now. And add to that the fact that he's making some putts, and he made some sneaky putts today. You know, that downhill fast stuff where the stroke is about that long and you've got to be very stable-handed, and the acceleration of the blade has to be very even. He hit one that dripped over the front doorstep where my brother Trevor actually thought it wasn't going in. And I was like, again, that just speaks to a guy that's in complete control. So I think, Tony, that's a silly number to bet on. So I'd be looking down there, Cameron Young and at least the more positive guys. But they're going to have to beat Finau.
Yeah, Cameron Young, 11-1, as noted. Lee Hodges is in that group with Pendrith right now, 20-1. So we'll see how it shakes out. We'll be back after rounds 3 and rounds 4. Mark, you're on the call tomorrow, right? We can get some Mark Immelman vibes in
sir. Yes, sir. CBS 3 p.m. Send me a word that I need to get into the broadcast. You can text me. I'll do my best to get it in there.
Okay, we have to crowdsource that. Yeah, that sounds.
Yeah,
good.
it's gonna be a fun show. Looking through the leaderboard, Dottie will have the final group, but if it stays as it is, it shakes out that I've got Cameron Young. And last time I called him was at the PGA, and it was a lot of fun. And apparently, I mean, he's exciting, but looks like he's found a little groove. So I'm keen to see what they do around this place. And then, of course, we've got the 15th hole, that hole in one par 3, where we've had one already. We're going to have Colt and Amanda on a set over there doing Colt and Amanda stuff. Hopefully we get another one like we did at Phoenix a few months ago.
Rory Sabatini went out and made that ace early this morning on 15. So he is now an eagle and a birdie away from also getting $313,000 donated, Mark, the 313 challenge.
So, well, look, the 5 is reachable for basically everyone if you get it in the fairway. And that's just a point for the folks watching. It's dry here. And so the rough adjacent to the fairway it's wispy. And you can get the odd flyer. We've seen that. But it's certainly not challenging. Now, around the greens, it's a little more lush because you can see how they've watered in this Donald Ross golf course. All the greens are perched up. It's old style drainage, right? So all the water runs off it. So the rough around the greens is enough to catch your attention. But there's a very interesting mowing cut that my spotter Craig pointed out, where they have the green surface and then the apron, right? Mm-hmm. Then they've got a very small, what I would call step cut, and then they have a first cut, pardon the pun, and then they have the primary rough. So there's 4 cuts of grass just off the green, and each of them are only about a mower's width. And he said he's been on the course 2 days. He said he's seen a lot of balls roll up against the collars. Right. So you've got to be sharp around the greens and stuff. So that's something to look out for tomorrow afternoon.
All right. We will certainly keep an eye on that for the weekend. But for now, Mark Immelman is available on Twitter at Mark_Immelman. You can find me at Rick Rungood. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.